Beeson. They got it. Oh, Beeson definitely got it. You got his number? I gave him crazy work. Crazy work. Crazy work. And then look, and the dude you kept getting all this love to, how he was all this great. What's his name? The linebacker. Briggs was nice. Briggs was not crazy work. Crazy work. Don't try me.
So there we heard the viral clip Lesean McCoy talking about that crazy work, and I'm here to check the validity of those claims. The first time Lesean McCoy played one of the two players mentioned, John Beeson, he was a really young player. He didn't get too many carries, so we're going to look at the second time these guys met. Now, Beeson in 2014 wasn't on the Panthers anymore, where he spent most of his prime. He was on the Giants, where he had a good year, and the Giants weren't as bad of a team as they were in the next following years in 2014. But when they met up, you can see why Lesean McCoy would be biased. By the way, that wasn't a fumbled. He was ruled down. To his games facing John Beeson because they blew him out both times. One when he was in Carolina in McCoy's rookie season, and then again when they met in 2014 on primetime. And you can see a lot of these runs. I mean, look at that vision, control. He had a great game on the stat sheet too. 22 rushes, I think 140 yards, almost 150. And it would have been 150, but they were winning 27-0 at the end, so they weren't really pounding McCoy as much as they needed to. Officially classifies as crazy work. Now we're going to talk about him going up against Lance Briggs. Now, played Briggs way more times. Way more times. They met 4 times, and the first time they met was in 2010. And I have to say, Lance Briggs had a pretty good game in this one. It's not like Lesean McCoy got bodied, didn't do anything, but the Bears would come on top on the scoreboard in this game, and they would hold Lesean McCoy pretty well. Lance Briggs had his fair share of good plays. A lot of times when the defense is making good plays, we don't respect it. We see the game from the offensive side of the ball on the broadcast usually. So when we're getting nice tackles on runs or pass breakups, they're usually not heralded or celebrated as much. They say the running back and the quarterback's name every time they complete a pass, but a lot of times when a defender makes a tackle, they might not even mention their name. Now, the one thing I noticed when watching back through a lot of these highlights is Lesean McCoy, as you can see, was a lethal receiver. I knew about the vision, I knew about the control, I knew about the agility, of course, but I didn't know the amount of passes he caught out of the backfield and how good he was at doing so. As you can see, Lance Briggs on a nice open field tackle, and for context in the game, this is when the Eagles are down, so they're throwing the ball, trying to get a last-minute drive. The Bears are playing deep, and Lesean McCoy caught a bunch of passes over the middle. Now, that doesn't do enough to classify as crazy work, although McCoy did have a good game. And here, the second time they would meet up, the following year in 2011, same deal. Lesean McCoy would have a good game. He would get 40 of his 70 yards, however, on this one rush, which is very impressive. Nice burst of speed, acceleration, long distance running, too, to punch in the end zone. But the rest of the game, that means he only had 30 yards when this was early on in the game. As you can see from these highlights, the Bears were doing a good job at bottling him up. Even if McCoy here, giving out crazy jukes, the guy's ankles being snapped. I mean, that's great. You snap about 3 guys' ankles, but you only get 2 yards, negative 2 yards on the play. Here we see Briggs in coverage. He didn't get the interception, but he was near the middle of the field. Helped make things cloudy. The Eagles really loved this delayed draw back in the day. I'm not really sure how I feel about it schematically. It worked once, of course, as you saw on the second play from this game for a 40-yard touchdown, but didn't really work the rest of the times. Now things get interesting. 2013, the Eagles, who were rolling at the time, were a really good team, would see the Bears again on primetime and really run it up this time. The Bears were struggling on offense all day. Jay Cutler couldn't get anything going. This is when they had Brandon Marshall and a nice receiving core. And the Eagles had Foles. He was still running the delayed draw. Chip Kelly's still the coach. But the game went much differently. Bears just couldn't get anything going on offense. And even though the beginning of the game, so you can see in these first couple clips, the Bears were putting together some nice tackles, some nice string on defense. They weren't any Swiss cheese. But as the game kept going on, as good running backs do, he caught on, and he ended up giving some work. Now I'm going to let the rest of the film run. We'll decide at the end whether this work classifies as crazy or not. Nice little 1-yard touchdown run here. McCoy would have a handful of scores in this game, I believe, and he'd rush for well over 100 yards. And not to mention his team would score 54 points, so he probably would have had even more touches if the game was closer in the fourth quarter. Nice burst, nice power. I already mentioned he could catch out of the backfield. That was really impressive. And here we have almost what Lesean McCoy did best, bounce things to the outside, when usually they tell running backs not to do that in the NFL because they don't always have the speed that they think they do in college. You can't just bounce everything. But Lesean McCoy was the exception to the rule. And as you notice, a small little detail, It kind of goes unheralded a lot of times, but he's never really getting tackled when he gets these catches. He's getting to the sideline. He's getting at, like, we see 3 straight plays of him not getting tackled. He's getting to the sideline and getting out of bounds. Why does that matter? Well, we see time and time again when running backs, they take a lot of hits, they play excessively, and their prime might last 2 or 3 seasons, which all power to them. They had a great career, made great impact on the NFL. But a guy like Lesean McCoy, as you can see, he was so shifty, he didn't really ever get a huge clean hit on him. And here, I think this is the play. I think it is. Yeah. Okay. This is officially crazy work. So as you can see, John Beeson, first matchup, kind of even. Second matchup, definitely crazy work. Same thing with Briggs. Took a couple games. Last one, definitely crazy work.